have a glass of water. I would tell them to have a glass of water. Drink some of this water that's coming out the faucet. I want you to look at it and drink it. Come take a shower in my shower, take a bath in my tub, and see what we got going on.
I feel like we are a dumping ground.
We deserve clean water and clean air. We deserve it. Is it safe or is it unsafe? We have a right to know.
The way I would describe the quality of my tap water, so on a level from 1 to 5, I would say 1. And I don't drink tap water, so that's the number one thing. I don't drink tap water. Been stopped since I was a child. Hi, my name is Brittany Scheck-Snyder. I am originally from Paulina, Louisiana, currently residing in Amer, Louisiana, St. Charles Parish. Ever since I was a child, we've known that the Mississippi River is literally the dirtiest river body of water in the United States of America, right? Because when you think about it, all of that water, all of that trash, all of the debris, everything from the ports is coming down into the Mississippi River.
My name is Jessica Dandridge-Smith, and I'm the Executive Director of the Water Club of Greater New Orleans. Our mission is to help communities live and thrive with water. We've been doing water testing since 2022, and we really started focusing on understanding what's in our water system. We drink from the Mississippi River. We know we're drinking half of America's water, as well as their contaminants and their pollutants. How much of that water is being filtered out into from the utility to our faucet, and how much of it isn't. And the last thing is that PFAS is an emerging contaminant that is just now becoming a priority for the EPA. And so we really wanted to embark on this project to understand what are our risks in Louisiana, as well as what Louisiana can do about it, and then making sure residents know whether they're safe or not.
My name is Tish Taylor. I am the Program Director of Concerned Citizens of St. John the Baptist Parish. I grew up in Reserve along the river in Cancer Alley. As a young child, my dad was adamant about us buying bottled water. Just worried about the chemicals in it, worried about anything that might just, that could harm us and hinder our health.
My name is Sharon Levine. I live in St. James, Louisiana, and I'm the director and founder of Rise St. James. We had clean water. When I was a little girl, we weren't sick. We didn't have any problems with the water. Now since St. James invited all of these chemical plants to come in here, and for years, we didn't know our tap water was contaminated.
We are surrounded by petrochemical industries. It's just scary to know that we're surrounded by all of these industries that can just poison the air, the water, and the soil. And there's no regulation. There's no way for us to feel safe. I'm so grateful to have actually worked with the Water Collaborative. They cared enough to come into our community and actually check our water, test our water.
I wanted to learn what was in my water. And I found out what was in my water. I always speculated it was something that wasn't right. And the report showed everything.
Our family home is in Reserve, and my dad still lives there. I'm not surprised that there's PFAS in our supply. So PFAS has been around that long, and we're just learning about it.
Just spray, bake, and slip away. Yes, here in this handy spray can is new Slip Away, the revolutionary new non-stick coating for pots, pans, ovens, and grills. And Slip Away contains the magic of DuPont Teflon. Just spray the surface of your cooking utensils, bake in the oven for 30 minutes.
Hi, I'm Anna Reed. I'm a senior scientist with the Natural Resources Defense Council, and I work on PFAS science and policy. So PFAS stands for per and polyfluoral alkyl substances, which is quite a mouthful. The important thing about PFAS is that it's a man-made group of chemicals, a very large group of chemicals that are used widely in our economy, everything from non-stick pans to stain-resistant carpets and rugs. Unfortunately, because they are man-made, they have a incredible durability. That durability, unfortunately, means that there's no way to break them down naturally in our environment or in our bodies. And so, after decades of relatively unchecked use, we are now finding PFAS in virtually all of our bodies, in rainwater and soil and food and animals. They get into our bodies and they can affect multiple different organs and biological systems at the same time. So they don't just target one thing. They don't just cause cancer. They don't just suppress our immune system. They're kind of getting into our bodies and wreaking havoc. We're now at a point where over 99% of us that we have measured have PFAS in our blood. From a public health point of view, we really consider this a crisis. We're finding PFAS contamination everywhere we look. And yet we're still continuing to use them widely in our environment and our economy.
There's nearly 15,000 different forms of PFAS. That is something that doesn't break down and can also cause cancer and other health effects. Unfortunately, you can't depend on your utility quite yet, and you can't depend on the government quite yet to regulate it. The utilities in Louisiana, or at least in Southeast Louisiana, don't have all of the equipment, the resources, the funding to deal with PFAS on top of the other contaminants that they're concerned about, and also dealing with climate change and climate risk from sea level rise, saltwater intrusion, you name it. So we really wanted to embark on this project to understand what are our risks in Louisiana, as well as what Louisiana can do about it, and then making sure residents know whether they're safe or not.
PFAS chemicals, the EPA set drinking water standards for them last year. That was the first time the EPA has taken their own initiative through the Safe Drinking Water Act to set drinking water standards in 28 years. And that's because there was a very vocal outcry from community members across the country concerned about their exposures to PFAS, and a very long and concerted effort amongst NGOs, community groups, and scientists to keep raising the alarm and saying, well, this is a huge public health risk. And that is the only reason why we saw action at the national level on drinking water standards for PFAS.
It's something that has to start from our government level. It's their responsibility to make sure that we have clean air, water, and soil.
But we can push them to make them do something about it.
This is a problem. Fix it. Don't kick the can down the road. Take care of business.
We solve it ourselves. If we don't try to save our lives, nobody else will. So it's up to the people. That's what I think.
Once we put on the gloves, we can't touch anything else. We've done 107 households so far across 7 parishes in Southeast Louisiana. So this is first for the PFAS sample. We just go straight in and collect this sample, making sure that nothing touches the inside of the container. Put that to the side. Next, we open the field blank sample, which is a PFAS-free water sent straight from the lab, just to see if PFAS is detected, whether or not it was due to the sampling procedures that was conducted at the site. That is poured into here at the same site, and making sure the top doesn't touch anything as well. And then next is just the heavy metals. So we're just doing 3 samples at each site. This one has less contamination risk. Close it. And then we take all of our materials and pack them back.
My name is Byron Marinovich. I'm 62 years old, but I've lived most of my life here in Plaquemines Parish in Buras.
Yes, my name is Henry McAnisby. I live in Plaquemines Parish, a little community called Lake Hermitage.
The quality of our tap water here is really bad. We've had a lot of issues the past few years with the saltwater wedge coming up the river. The chloride content is really, really high.
It's frustrating when you can't wash your dishes because you have no water. You have to, make your coffee in the morning, you're drinking water.
Right now, they lie to us and tell us, all the water's fine. No, it's not fine. We're paying top dollar for this water. We pay a lot for it, and nothing's being done. Biggest challenges we face is trying to get the parish government to pay attention. And also in the restaurant a lot, we serve bottled water and use bottled water. The problem about the extra expenses is I don't think a lot of the customers seem to understand and don't really get why we don't give away free water and why we have additional costs on some of the things we do here. So that's been really hard. It's been the cost effectiveness of actually running a business like this.
You look, you see trash in the water, you see plastics. So you think, okay, what is that doing to our ecosystem? What is that doing to the animals in there? What is that doing to the fish that we're catching and eating? And if those fish are catching and eating those plastics, then where are those plastics going? They're going inside of us. So we need to realize it's about the water and it's really about us. How are we taking care of it?
We are where we're at in this situation now because the general approach to chemical management is that we assume chemicals are safe until proven otherwise. And at that point, that chemical is what we call entrenched. Too many companies are like, no, we need to use these chemicals. It's going to cause a huge problem economically. And so then there's a big fight to try and regulate those chemicals. And so I think what we need to do is change the way we think about chemical management. We need to see safety studies before a chemical comes onto the market. We need to be asking chemical manufacturers to do that work ahead of time before there's harm in our population. And so the more people that are involved, the more people that show up and voice their concern, the more we're able to pass policies and regulations that will protect public health and provide safe water.
Even if you're not on the front line, let's just say you're on the back of the line, you feel safe, you feel like your infrastructure is new. Eventually there's the comment that says we're all downriver. Everyone's fate in this state is dependent on someone else's fate. And we've learned that in many ways, but we don't say it out loud. And maybe you won't be the first person impacted, but eventually it's going to wind up at your door because of the state of water in this country. Like the old school thing, knowledge is power, really rings true here, is that if we don't know anything, we can't ask. And if we do know that something's wrong, we know what we're asking for. We can't create change in the city, especially in the state, if we don't know anything at all. And part of the knowledge is collecting that data, and that's what we're hoping to bring to residents as well as our elected officials. Knowledge is power, and so whether we find results of PFAS at all, they should know, and even if we don't, they should feel safer and more comfortable every time they turn their faucet on.
Thank you, Water Collaborative.
Thank you, Water Collaborative.
Thank you so much, Water Collaborative.
Thank you, Water Collaborative.
Thank y'all for what y'all do.